The Rise of Skywalker is a Star Wars directed by J.J. Abrams and is mostly written by Chris Terrio, who's also responsible for such films as Batman v Superman and Justice League. Yikes is correct. I'll keep the opening synopsis as spoiler-free as possible, so here it goes. Since the death of Supreme Leader Snoke, Kylo Ren has been searching for something to find somebody. And thanks to the information from someone, the Resistance finds out who and what he was looking for. So now the gang needs to find a thing to locate another thing to take it to a place to find somebody, which can lead him to another person to prevent something else from happening. It has very little to do with the previous movies. This is an entirely new story, and the opening scroll should have just been this. I really wanted to like this one, I really did. I love Star Wars and I wanted these movies to succeed. And I don't mean at the box office, I just want them to take me away and surprise me. Like the first time I watched Empire when I was 6. But this is the worst script for a Star Wars film ever. But like always, let's start with the good things first. First of all, it looks incredible. J.J. Abrams' ability to shoot a good looking film has never been a problem. The visual effects are amazing, there are tons of gorgeous looking practical effects, there are a lot of lightsaber battles in this one, which I liked, and throughout the film there are a couple of great little moments. The cast is incredible, especially Oscar Isaac, but these are good actors performing through a horrible script. Because this story is either predictable and by the numbers, or ridiculously contrived. There's nothing in between. I've said it many times before, if a script is bad, it doesn't matter who's directing it, it's not gonna be a good movie. That's why that whole Snyder cut is a load of nonsense. I'll give you a couple of examples of how bad the writing is in this movie, but be warned, these are spoilers, so skip to this time code if you don't want any spoilers. So this movie tells us right from the get-go that Emperor Palpatine is still alive and he was the one behind all of this all along. You just didn't know about it. How is he still alive, you ask? Well, there's this throwaway line about Sith cloning, but it doesn't explain if this Palpatine is the clone or the one from Jedi is. In which case, they changed the fucking narrative of Return of the Jedi. They're basically saying that all of the original movies have been about a war against some decoy, and that is appalling, lazy, and disrespectful. Another thing this movie does is the obvious fake out. For example, you think a character is dead, only to find out later in the movie he or she is still alive. Terrio does variations of this, maybe 8 or 9 times in a row, and it's usually resolved within a few minutes. It's a cheap writing trick, and there's no emotional charge to it, and therefore there's no payoff. And speaking of no emotional charge, the last thing I need to get off my chest is the ridiculous way we say goodbye to Leia. We had the perfect moment in Last Jedi for her to sacrifice herself, but the studio wanted to save it for the final film. I really thought they had planned out something amazing, something so mind-blowing, something so emotional that they had to save it for this film. And basically it's this. She uses the Force to turn Kylo Ren good, and then she lays down in bed and dies, while Maz Kanata is explaining to the audience what just happened. The writing of Chris Batman v Superman Terrio, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was good seeing Billy D. Williams back as Lando, but he didn't have a lot to do. A much better screenwriter would have included him more into the story, or give him a much better reason to be in it, but he just sort of shows up. All of the new characters in this film felt unnecessary. They all served some small purpose, but nothing that could have been resolved without them. The most annoying new character was the droid D.O., who patronizingly kept telling the audience how to feel, and I wanted to kick him right in his dirty little face. I did like that 3PO is giving a lot to do in this film, and the movie has a couple of great little moments. I even laughed a couple times. It's just too bad that it's stringed together by cheap storytelling. The end of the Skywalker-saga deserved so much better than this. I really think the overall directorial vision behind this trilogy has been one giant incohesive mess. It is baffling to me that Disney clearly didn't plan anything out with these movies. But it's still gonna make $1 billion because there's always people who write shit like this on the internet. It pains me to say it because, again, I want these movies to succeed. But The Rise of Skywalker is my biggest disappointment of the year and gets 2 out of 6.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Give me the Star Wars, don't let them end. Star Wars, if they should bar wars, please let these Star Wars